It's a bit monotonous doing the same exact thing, but we tour also throughout the year, which breaks it up a little bit. And we try to, me and DJF are on headsets during the show, so we try to keep it interesting.
Hi, Jan here from nStuff Germany, and we're here at the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas with Cheetah, the guitar player for the Criss Angel Mindfreak magician show here, and he's nice enough to give us a little insights about his job here. So hi.
5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Yeah, we'll hurry. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for your time, and can you tell us a little bit, very quick, about your musical career until this point?
My musical career, I've been mostly a touring musician most of my life. I was touring full-time for the previous 12 years before I started this show. And right before that, I actually played in a band with Clayton of Celldweller, who does all the music for Chris's show, in like 98, 99, around that time. And that's how I ended up back here working with Criss again. I met him in Long Island 20 years ago, and I used to sneak him free food at Chili's when he was too poor to buy food. And now he sneaks me free paychecks.
And what were your first thoughts when you heard, oh, he needs a guitar player for a magic show?
Well, I already knew what the music was. It's actually some of the songs I played 20 years ago in Celldweller. And I thought it was cool that he wanted to do it live again. It always adds like a cool element when you have live musicians on stage. Even though the music's heavily electronic, so sound-wise, it's not that different having the tracks played live, because it's very like mechanical, and but it's still like visually, it's cool to have the musicians there on stage playing it for sure.
Yeah, and what would you say? What does a typical day with 2 shows look for you?
Every day looks exactly the same. Yeah. I show up at 5:30 for sound check, take a shower at 5:45. I spend about 90 minutes on my hair and makeup. Sometimes 2 hours on hair and makeup. And no, it's a bit monotonous doing the same exact thing, but we tour also throughout the year, which breaks it up a little bit. And we try to, me and DJF are on headsets during the show, so we try to keep it interesting.
Yeah, and how do you keep in time? Do you have like something like a click or?
Yeah, we have in-ears, and the music's all on click. It's all, there's a lot of electronic tracks playing, so it's all on click. It's very quantized, and the playing is very mechanical, and it has to be like, it's a different style of guitar playing. It has to be very tight and very, very robotic,
And is it a nice part for you to be a little part of the show, so you're entering the stage at some times during the show?
Yeah, there's a few times I pop out on stage, a little treat for the audience. Yeah, it gives me a break from standing up. Have you seen the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little break from standing up in the platform. Get to go out on stage a few times is nice.
Have you ever been part of a trick? Like, have you been cut in half or something like that?
I almost got cut in half. It wasn't part of the trick, but there was almost a bad mishap one day when the big saw blade was coming right by me on stage, and I didn't know it was there, and I walked under it, and it hit the top of my hair.
Okay.
I almost cut my head off, but that's about as close as I've come to being in one of the tricks.
Yeah, and as you told us, you play with in-ear, and I guess there should be no noise on stage. So can you tell us a little bit about the gear you're using during the show?
We stand directly under the array, and when the show was first being built, we were actually in front of the speaker stacks, and it was much too loud for us. It was just deafening. Even the in-ears are 30 dB noise reduction, so it helps a lot, but standing in front of the speakers was still, it was way too loud, so they pulled the speakers out and they flew the array over us. So it's actually pretty quiet. I don't really hear much except what's in my in-ears. I hear a lot of the bass because the subs are right under me, but we use Sensophonics in-ears. They're like the silicone moldable ones, which are really nice, and they do a great job of deadening all the stage noise,
Yeah, and what are you using for guitars and amps?
I have a couple Wizard amps and a Marshall, and I run a stereo signal through those 2 amps, and they sit in an ISO booth off stage, so there's no actual amps on stage, And I use Epiphone, Prophecy Plus, custom Les Paul custom guitars with EMGs, active pickups. You know, so it's very processed, tight, modern, heavy rock sound. You know, so the EMGs are nice for that. But I still use tube amps. You know, I don't love the sound of super digital amps, like the really line 6y type sound. So I think with the EMG, you know, the active pickups and the tube amps, it still is like it's a nice heavy modern tone, but it still has a little bit of warmth to it, you know. It's a nice blend of the modern and kind of the classic rock sound. And you're controlling all the sounds. I've seen during the show you're controlling the sounds yourself. Yeah. I actually use a line 6, mostly for switching, for MIDI switching, because it has the different banks. I can set it up to trigger, you know, control my different pedals and stuff. There's a couple of the sounds that I use. It's the stage pod, like the line 6 stage pod XT or whatever it's called. There's a couple sounds in there that I use, but for the most part, all the main tone is coming from the amps. I use a Lead preamp pedal. It's a tube preamp pedal in front of both amps, which sounds great. It's a nice heavy preamp pedal. But the line 6 I use for a little bit of compression. I think I use a tube screamer in that for one of the sounds, and a little bit of delay, a little bit of chorus, but all the main tone is coming from the amps and the tubes. Yeah, and how far into the future are you planning now with the show and with other activities? I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about that. I mean, his contract is ending here in October. He's been here for 10 years at the Luxor, and he's talking about some new shows, some touring shows, and I think I'll be working with Criss for a while. I don't know exactly what the future holds and where the show is going specifically, but he's a workaholic. You know, he's always got something in the pipeline. I'm sure it'll be something cool, and this keeps me busy, you know. I get to work on the video side of it too, especially with the touring show, so that's really interesting. And are there any dreams musically for you where you would say, oh, it would be so cool to play there or to tour with these guys? I really want to go to Australia. I've done a lot of touring in Europe and Japan and all over. I've been around the United States probably 50 times. I really want to see some more of Australia, South America, stuff like that. We went to South America with the show for the first time a few months ago. We went to Buenos Aires, and I think there's going to be more South America coming up next year. And I love the culture there. I'd like to do some more of that. And I mean, there's not, you know, I'd like to play with like Ozzy and some of the old school greats like that. You know, AC/DC. I mean, those guys are not really around so much anymore, but I like the 70s, like the 70s powerhouses would be fun to play with. You know. Okay, thank you very much, and good luck. All right, thank you. For the shows tonight and for the future plans. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you.